Hello and welcome to another Lakehead International Live webinar. Today on today's Faculty Friday, we are going to be chatting about sustainability sciences, and we're joined by a special guest from the department, a chair and professor of the department, and we're very excited to have her. But first, I'll chat a bit about the Lakehead International Live series. So where we've been this past week, where we're going next week with it, we're really excited for the upcoming ones. But earlier this week on Monday, the Monday meetup, we did student accessibility services. On Tuesday, we had a special session with immigration, and we had our international immigration advisor, Jennifer Hay, join us, and we chatted with new students about future study permits, securing that study permits, what our recommendations are. On Wednesday, we did our Wednesday weekly admissions update with both undergraduate and graduate admissions teams. Yesterday, we met up with Sharon, an alumni of the Natural Resources Management faculty. She has done both environmental management as an undergraduate degree and a master's in science of forestry as a graduate degree. Today, of course, like I mentioned, we're going to be diving into sustainability sciences. And on Monday, so this upcoming Monday in a few days here, we'll be meeting up with residents once again, and we're going to chat about how to apply to on-campus residence. So we'll actually walk through the application that's on MyInfo and online. For those students that have been asking for clarification exactly what they should be filling out on some of those details, how to secure residence, answering questions about the upcoming academic year, all that sort of stuff we'll cover. So we're really excited to be joined by Michelle next Monday as well. Without further ado, though, I'll introduce myself to start. If you haven't joined us before, my name is Jordan. I am the International New and Social Media Officer here on campus at Lakehead University. I help oversee our social media channels, as well as I run live events, our Global Ambassador Program, and do other digital marketing and marketing efforts. But I'll pass it over to Patrick to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, depending on when and where you're joining us from. My name is Patrick Carr. I am one of the international recruitment officers here at Lakehead University. We're primarily working with students out of the Middle East, Africa, as well as the Caribbean, but happy to answer anyone's questions from anywhere in the world for all of my colleagues globally. So I'll pass it back to you, Jordan.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us, Patrick. I know that we're always happy to have you and be able to answer questions about Lakehead University on a broad scale, of course. And then our next guest, our special guest for today is Dr. Sreekumari Kurissery, the chair and professor within sustainability sciences. So I'll pass it over to her to introduce herself.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As Patrick said, and you know, wherever you are, greetings. And when it comes to international, you couldn't, I think I'm a really good candidate to speak to because I traveled a lot and worked in various countries and been international. So, you know, maybe I can answer most of your questions. Thank you and welcome to our webinar.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. I'm certainly excited myself to learn more about sustainability sciences. I think throughout this entire Lakehead International Live series, myself and Patrick probably have been picking up a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills and really unique learning opportunities. So that's why we always encourage students to join our sessions and learn more. And of course, like I've mentioned, recordings are also up on our YouTube channel, but I'll dive into that in just a second. So what are we going to cover today? That's a common question we get, and we already have a pre-established agenda. So we are going to do a program overview. We'll chat a bit about the department itself. We'll also dive into the areas of study and the course selection. So some of the more industry relevant courses, some of the popular courses. First year at a glance too. So for any students that are going to be starting this upcoming year, we'll look into what those first year courses include. And then we're going to chat about some of the experiential learning opportunities, student research opportunities, as well as career outcomes or continuing education. So of course, we're going over the entire life cycle of the program, ending off with graduation and then eventually maybe the next step in your education journey or potentially landing amazing careers or amazing jobs. Things to remember throughout today's session. If you do like what you're seeing, don't worry, we're going to send out a recording of this after. So every week we send out an email with the week's recordings as well as the next week's registrations. So today, most likely, or tomorrow, you will receive an email from Lakehead International with the recordings as well as next week's invite. It also goes on our YouTube channel on the Lakehead International Lives playlist within Lakehead University's main channel there. If you do have questions throughout today's session, if you're joining us on Zoom, you can certainly ask us using the Q&A function. If you're over on Facebook Live, you can comment on that video and we'd be happy to have our Lakehead experts who are behind the scenes right now answering questions. And if you're watching this as a recording, you can always comment on either one of those videos, so whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. We will get that notification. We'll be happy to address that after the fact. And last but not least, I certainly encourage everyone to stay connected with us. Follow us on our social media channels. We post regular updates with future webinars, future virtual events, but also important announcements out of the main university and updates for this upcoming semester. Without further ado, though, I think it's time to dive into sustainability sciences. And that starts off with our program overview and looking at the department itself. So I'll pass it over to Sri to introduce that.
Thank you, Jordan. That's right there. You can see, one of our field activities there. My master's student, Nathan Fleck, is there working in the field. Okay, with that introduction, I'll talk about our department. It is a Department of Department of Sustainability Sciences, which is, the faculty complement can think about them. It's an interdisciplinary team. We have geographers, biologists, microbiologists, ecologists, chemists, all different disciplines, but we all come under one main umbrella, which is environmental sustainability. Whether being a chemist or a physicist or a geographer or a biologist, we all focus on environmental sustainability and coming under the one umbrella of Department of Sustainability Sciences. That's the introduction of our department. It belongs to Faculty of Science and Environmental Studies at Lakehead.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I think that gives us a good overview, and it also gives us good knowledge as to kind of the reach and the research areas also that fall within the department, and the difference of studies of fields. Like you mentioned, there's the biologists, microbiologists, geologists, chemists. That's very interesting to know that, of course, you'll have a variety of professors or instructors that are coming from a wealth of backgrounds. Mm-hmm. Diving into the program at hand here, environmental sustainability, could you chat a bit about that program and dive into that?
Okay, thanks, Jordan. The home program, or the main, the spine of our departmental programs is the Honors Bachelor of Arts and Science in Environmental Sustainability. And that's the main program, and we have different versions of that program. If I start with the main program, then the co-op option, we have a cooperative education option for that program. So Honors Bachelor of Arts and Science in Environmental Sustainability with that co-op option. Then we do have a concurrent education program. Which is for anybody wants to go for teaching profession, they love to do that. That one is a 6-year program. The co-op is a 5-year program, and the STEM program, the home program, is a 4-year program. And we do have fallback degrees for all those, etc. And also transfer programs from, if you do a diploma in a college, we have a multilateral transfer programs, bilateral transfer programs, etc. And one other program that I would like to highlight is our 2-in-1, the degree diploma combination of Lakehead and Georgian College, which is again in Barrie, very close by from the Aurelia campus. So Lakehead Georgian Partnership Program, combined program degree diploma, which is a 2-in-1 program, 4 years only, and at the end of the 4 years you get degree, honors Bachelor of Arts in Science in Environmental Sustainability with a specialization in ecosystem management, which is again really like no employers would love that option. And along with that degree, you get a diploma in environmental technician from Georgian College also. So 2-in-1. Personally, I think you couldn't ask for more in 4 years. That is one other very good program that we have. And then we have a certificate in environmental sustainability. I'm not sure whether there are anybody in the audience who are really professionals working already and would like to have something additional, another credential to your already achieved an undergraduate degree. You can go for a certificate in environmental sustainability, which is an all online. So anywhere in the world, you can take that certificate attached to our department. It's 5 half credits. You can finish all online in spring and summer. So these are the various options that we have, the highlights.
For sure, yeah, and I like the, I didn't know about this certificate, so I'm happy to learn about that, and it's definitely something I know more and more people are looking into, especially recently, where they might have a bit more free time on their hand and they're looking for a specialization or building their knowledge base, so that's exciting news that we have the certificate. And I also liked your mention of the Lakehead Georgian Partnership Program, the 4-year program that combines both a college diploma as well as a university degree, and achieving the best of both worlds in a sense. For any students that might be interested in about that, we won't necessarily dive into that program specifically today, but I certainly encourage you, if you head over to lakeheadgeorgian.ca. That is our website for the combined programs. We have 4 of them in a variety of different fields. You can learn more about that. You can connect directly with us too. And of course, if you wanted to connect with us on either one of our social medias, whether it be Lakehead International's or Lakehead Georgian social medias, we'd be happy to answer questions about that program as well.
Exactly.
I know that you mentioned that the environmental sustainability program itself kind of has a few different routes. So whether you're doing the 4-year degree, the honors 4-year degree, the co-op option, or the concurrent education, I know that students are still, in a broad sense, completing the exact same material in a different method or with additions to that. So with the addition of concurrent education, of course, you also have your Bachelor's of Education degree. Could you chat about the study areas or the areas of focus that 4 years of environmental sustainability courses will take you through?
Main 3 disciplines coming into my mind is biology, geography, and geology. And of course, when you think about this, environmental sustainability, those are the key disciplines. And we have, so biology courses are there, geography courses are there, geology courses are there, but the spine of the program, or the major core of the program is a certain number of environmental sustainability courses. So for example, we begin with an introduction to environmental sustainability in the first year. Second year gets into inquiry into environmental methods, where you see all the, learn all about what are the different techniques, methods, and statistical methods, as well as sampling methods, analytical methods, etc. And then you go to the third year, the ENSO course will come to inquiry into environmental conservation. Then you go to honors thesis and honors project, a seminar, and so it builds up like that core environmental sustainability. We have environmental biotechnology course. We have materials and materials manufacturing and waste, bioremediation, biomonitoring of environment. So applied and environmental microbiology. So all these like basically cutting edge courses, as well as applied aspects of environmental sustainability you can learn from this program. Yeah.
For sure, and something I heard you say, and something I want to echo, is the fact that from your first year, you're building that foundational knowledge that then is allowing you to continue building on that knowledge and getting more specific or doing more intensive projects with, of course, your fourth year, or not necessarily fourth year, but ending off with your honors thesis or your honors research project or that seminar that you were talking about. And I think that students sometimes might go into a program assuming that they might not be able to successfully complete that, and they don't realize that that's exactly what you're trained for. You learn how to grasp the concepts and then work with them as you continue on. And then some of the courses that you've taken first year, I mean, speaking from experience in business, some of the courses that I completed in first year, I questioned, I'm like, oh, this isn't necessarily what I'm passionate about, such as accounting. It wasn't for me necessarily. But then I realized in second and third year in my marketing courses, I was using my accounting knowledge to build on those foundations and continue doing some of the research that was so crucial to my marketing course. So it's interesting to know and hear that it's very similar in other programs, and that foundational knowledge and how important it is too.
Correct. One more maybe I would like to add as or maybe I don't know whether you have a question later on coming, but about our field schools. We have two field schools, a beautiful two courses, one in third year and one in fourth year. They do like basically a week or a few days. They go as your class and your instructor go to something near us is Algonquin Park. That's where we take our students for field school. So you stay there, get up in the morning, hear the birds and see them, and maybe touch them, and then count them and see what are the different species they are, and where are they coming from, are they migratory birds, all sort of things, count the fishes, count the plants, etc. So you stay there with your class and your instructor and with the nature. So a week full of nature, that is what we do for our field scopes. It's so wonderful. Students love it.
Sure, I can imagine that. I met up with a student who's in the Faculty of Natural Resources Management yesterday on our Instagram Live, and she had done field school, and of course she chatted about the academics and how immersive the academics were, because you were learning right in an environment that's similar to where you might be working in the future with a career job. But then of course also chatting about the fact that going with your professor and going with your classmates, you build that bond and you grow closer with each other. So then you almost can lean on them more in a sense in the upcoming courses, upcoming semesters, when it comes time to very difficult topics or more complex topics. You can always lean on them, and it's just a great time. She was explaining her trip to New Brunswick with the forestry department, and she just had a blast. So I'm sure that environmental sustainability students probably could echo the exact same statements about that in their trips on field school in third and fourth year.
Okay.
So chatting a bit about first year at a glance, I know many students are always curious sort of what courses will I be taking in my first year? And I know that the timetable recently got published yesterday as of yesterday. And then registration is going to open up in a few days here. So diving into some of these courses, would you mind chatting about sort of them in general, I guess?
Okay. So what I was mentioning about the ENSU, Environmental Sustainability core of the program. So you can see there, Environmental Sustainability 1033, it's Introduction to Environmental Sustainability. That's the very beginning. Like, you get an overview of everything that you need to know. So that will set the base for you to just jump in and second, third, fourth year, and graduate. So that's the beginning, the first one, the core course. And biology 1110 and 1130, animal and plant biology, both together will set the base for your biology. So basically, fundamentals, you're getting animal biology and plant biology, you get everything. So there is jumping into the second year course coming into my mind is my introduction to microbiology course. So with that microbiology course and plant biology and animal biology, just covered all the biology part of it, and then you can build that expertise into your higher level courses. Geography 1150, the environment, that is setting the basis for geography courses, upper year courses. And geology 1130, crust of the earth is anything geology related, you get that basis for that. And mathematics 0210, it's basically a statistics course where you learn the basic statistics needed for your upper level courses, especially the second year inquiry into environmental methods, and your up to building up to your honors thesis, you need this statistics basis. So that is incorporated in the first year for this program. And the basis for chemistry, we do, this is not a basic chemistry, but we thought it is good to have an environmental chemistry background. What are the pollutants in the environment? What are the contaminants going into? How are they developing into something more toxic or less toxic, or how are they degraded, biodegradation, etc. So covering that basis of environmental chemistry, that's another course. Yeah, that's the first year. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that. And then, of course, the note at the bottom, the balance of your courses will be the electives you choose also. So students are able to kind of explore any of their side hobbies or side passions. I know that there's a few programs within the Thunder Bay campus as well as the Aurelia campus that offer minors even. And over the course of a 4-year undergrad, you can certainly achieve that minor through those electives. And it's interesting to see when students are able to complete, for example, if they were to do environmental sustainability, but then they have a minor in criminology. Mm-hmm. You might not consider exactly how those two subjects might combine, but when you hear about some of the career paths we see students going on, it's very interesting to see how they're able to use knowledge from both fields to get the job that they've always hoped for. And that's speaking to, of course, tailoring your educational experience to exactly what you want to get out of it. So it's your opportunity to expand your knowledge. It's your opportunity to explore your passions. And we certainly encourage you to choose courses that you'll be passionate about or you're excited to learn about, because you'll be the most successful in them as well.
Right, Jordan, your business background and my, our environmental sustainability could make wonders.
For sure, yeah. Maybe if this doesn't work out for us, we'll have to connect and maybe we'll see what we can go from there. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is I know that the Environmental Sustainability Program is also accredited by the Canadian Environmental Accreditation Commission, which is also a certifying board by the Environmental Careers Organization, or Eco-Canada. Right. Could you chat a bit about that accreditation and why it's important to have our program accredited?
It is, as any accreditation process goes, about business programs accredited that we have. And, basically it's a strenuous process to get it accredited to begin with. So basically what it means is for the program, for us, we have the commitment to keep it quality program, because we have to abide by we have to, for compliance, we have to get to their specifications, keep them and maintain and, work towards that quality. That is our commitment. And how the students benefit is when they graduate from a program which is accredited, and this is a national accreditation, Eco-Canada accreditation, employers will be looking at them as they are graduated from a good quality program. So it is basically telling the world the quality of our program. And it is, we have it, we have accreditation from 2017. That's the first time we got accredited. Until then, we were working with Eco-Canada to get it accredited. So it is there now, and when you join these programs, you graduate from a nationally accredited program, and employers will be looking for those kind of something. Everybody is equal, like in any environmental science program, anything equal. So this one, the accreditation will give you just a little bit higher. You're a little bit more equal. In that thing, you're equal, but a little bit higher than the others when when your program is accredited.
For sure. And something I wanted to echo that you mentioned is the process actually of getting the accreditation is is extremely intense, and the boards themselves, or the accreditation bodies, they go through a very intense process with each department or each faculty involved in reviewing who is teaching the material, what material is being taught, whether it's relevant. And that's another key thing, is they want to make sure that the course material is relevant to today's working environment and today's career prospects, compared to if a school was to just be teaching the exact same thing that 30 years ago somebody else could have done the exact same thing. That's no longer necessarily relevant in some fields, and that's why this accreditation also speaks to the high level and cutting edge aspect of our programs and some of the courses that we're offering.
And it's a continuous monitoring. In order to keep your accreditation intact, you need to maintain that level or better, right? So, it's from the program side as well as student side, the faculty side, staff side, everything. We need to keep that quality to get it accredited. So we are keeping it intact.
Awesome. So then, chatting a bit about, I know we had already sort of dived into the field schools, but I wanted to give this opportunity to chat first about, are there any recent co-op opportunities, or could you explain the co-op opportunities that are involved within the program?
Of course. We didn't know really a lot of nature around us. Anybody looking at our campus somewhere, on the map, you can see, we're surrounded by nature. So, and a lot of environmental operations around us. So, and Toronto is very close by for us. So our co-op students, they get opportunity to either work locally or go to Toronto, and some of them they like to go out to the west or east and other countries, etc. So our co-op program is not restricted to anyone, so they can go anywhere and do their co-op terms. So mostly a lot of the I would like to add to that is our program is an arts and science program, honors Bachelor of Arts and Science, that creates an opportunity, a wider opportunity for students to get co-op placements, because they can do something on social aspects of sustainability or scientific aspects of sustainability, philosophical aspects of sustainability, etc. So wider umbrella of placement. So and to my knowledge, there is always placement for students when if they wanted to and if they qualified. So there were opportunities around. So some examples I can say. The municipalities and cities around, city of Barrie, city of Aurelia, there are environmental education organizations around. So those are and industries like, for example, consulting companies, environmental consultants, car companies, like, they have a green program, they hire our students as co-op students. So these are some of the examples coming to my mind. And in addition to, even if you're not in the co-op program, we have summer opportunities. So some of our students went to Department of Fisheries and Oceans, so basically provincial and federal organizations, ministries, etc. And they, can even think about some students coming into my mind. They did summer school, summer program, summer work or co-op opportunities, and they got hired by the same institutions. They get rehired in the summer, second year, third year, fourth year, and they get finally hired to the same organizations, Minister of Natural Resources, etc.
I mean, I think I probably could speak to that exact situation. I've worked at Lakehead since my first year summer. And then I carried on as a student employee throughout the school year, working each summer full time. And then, of course, I landed an international enrollment. For 2 years, I was there as a student. And then last year, I was able to get a full-time job, of course. I went through the full process of applications and interviews and whatnot. And I know there's a few other people that were vying for the position. But speaking to the knowledge of getting involved with these employers, and whether it is an official co-op placement and a formal co-op placement, or whether it's an opportunity of working part-time or doing volunteer opportunities, establishing these connections and building your own personal network that's tied to your education, but also tied to your career outcomes or your career aspects or hopes. I think that's also really important to speak to. Something I know that you mentioned was the fact that with students completing honors, Bachelor of Arts, and Science, is the fact that with their co-op, they can go into two sides of it, essentially. You can go into the social aspect side, or you can go into the scientific aspect of the side. And I know to kind of explain that and further dive into that, if you were to go into a social aspect, you would most likely be working with potentially implementing community programs, I'm assuming, community-run programs that promote environmental sustainability within the community. So whether it's a community organization or a governmental organization, compared to in your other example where it's a scientific field. If you're going in for the science, you might be working with a private company or a consulting firm, and you're doing hands-on research. So that also speaks to being able to tailor your educational experience to what your passions are. So if you have the hopes and dreams to be in research, do science, do experiments, you can of course expand on that side. But if your hopes and dreams lie within the social side of promoting environmental sustainability within a community, or even on a broader scale, there are certainly jobs out there to promote environmental sustainability provincially, federally, globally. There's some really exciting opportunities there as well.
If you would like me to add on some research opportunities,
Sure.
I can add. They basically, we, as I mentioned at the beginning of our talk, we have your biologists, geographers, physicists, chemists, etc., all in under one umbrella. So basically we do a lot of work in water quality studies, especially we are surrounded by lakes in this part of the world. So a lot of freshwater ecology studies happening in our department. And there's geographer focusing on climate change, carbon sequestration in wetlands, and water quality, basically phytoplankton, zooplankton, microbial E. coli, coliforms, etc. Those kind of studies are there. A lot of water quality study, indicator study, pharmaceuticals in water, endocrine disruptors in water, caffeine as an anthropogenic marker for human waste. And these are the some of the research projects that are coming to my mind as examples of research opportunities. And we're the faculty in our department all of us are really research focused and research, intense research that we do, the environmental matters, I mean. So there are projects that you can definitely do co-op with us too, and other summer programs, a lot of opportunities for research.
For sure. And to clarify or expand on that further, just so that I understand also for our viewers, for our professors and our faculty members that are completing their own research within their field of study, their field of expertise, that's where the research opportunity falls. So they actually have the ability to bring volunteer opportunities on, maybe even potentially paid opportunities from our students. So obviously their go-to is reaching out to their current students within their classrooms to see if they're interested in these opportunities. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, because that's definitely something we hear from students all the time. And I think that's probably why we're very proud to share that Lakehead University for the 5th consecutive year is ranked the #1 undergraduate research university in the entire nation of Canada. And I think that speaks to the opportunities that when our professors and our faculty members are focusing in on their own studies and completing really important research that has significant impact, people under them, so students in undergrad, students in grad programs, are actually there right with them, helping and assisting in that. So it's very exciting to know that they're going to get that hands-on experience on top of their educational and academic experience.
Exactly. The slide you are seeing right now is a prof with students in the field.
Awesome.
Saw me also in the field with
yeah.
my
And
students.
it's funny, when I was building the slides I mentioned before we got started, the photo at the beginning had Shree in it, and I hadn't realized that I hadn't made the connection that it was the same person. But I know that in the future, when we're able to, me and Shree will certainly meet in person, and we'll probably have more conversations about sustainability sciences. So another thing, I know this kind of jumps a few years ahead. So now you've completed your degree and you're looking to the next step of your journey. For students that are looking to go into the career field, I have on the screen some of the very broad and limited listed number of career opportunities. This list is by no means an exhaustive list or a full list of the opportunities. That really speaks to sort of what we've seen our students doing and some of the more popular ones. So I'll pass it over to Sri to highlight some of those.
Environmental scientist. So there's some specific job title that water quality analyst. So something like that, and microbiologist, or but again, urban forestry COP student, or urban forestry technology. Those kind of things coming to my mind. Another one is this stormwater processing, etc. So people working in that area. Waste recycling centers, they hire our students. Then another one I remember is a student who went abroad, and not because she didn't get any jobs here, but she wanted to go abroad and do that. She's in the agricultural field, basically working on seed evaluation, and working on genetically modifying the seeds, etc. So that kind of, so it's a range of opportunities that they have. Again, with the arts and science focus, a lot. So NGO representative that you have on that list is one, like just need not be scientific, but the other side of the spectrum. Climate research analyst, ecology consultant, all beautiful. Again, maybe because I love nature and I am an environmental microbiologist, I like this kind of jobs. So I think they are cool jobs.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy you said that, because it speaks to the fact that no one wants to go into a course or learn for someone who's not passionate about what they're teaching, or who isn't excited to share their knowledge and expand that knowledge too. Something that I always hear from people, other than myself, and especially in the academia world, is life is about continued learning, and growing that knowledge and expanding never stops. So I'm definitely excited to hear, and I think our students would also be excited to hear that you're still passionate about it. You want to continue expanding, you want to continue sharing that knowledge with our students. So thank you for sharing that. I'm curious though, if students aren't interested necessarily in going into the career field, have we seen students continue their education into very specific fields, or is it kind of a wide range where they end up going?
With the wide opportunity umbrella for environmental sustainability, for example, just maybe different from a particular disciplinary focus, these graduates have wider choice of employment, and they went that way. So a number of them, they did their higher education, remained with us, and did a few of them did that too. They took masters in biology, masters in environmental studies, etc. So those are the two pathways that I saw at Lakehead only. I mean, they remained at Lakehead, but there are others went on and did masters outside, PhD, etc. And went on to employment. So areas, as I mentioned earlier, some are hired by DFO, Department of Fisheries and Oceans, Ministry of Natural Resources. What else? Environmental consulting company, golf courses. So basically, like, wherever nature is there, that's where our graduates are going. And when they come back, and when we see them as alumni, they're happy. That's what I can share with you. So, from the student side, when I see their smiling faces, that's when I see that our program is successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your experience and interacting with alumni. I know that's another a big thing, and it's hard to picture going into your first year of a program. Where am I going to be in 4, 5, 6, 7 years? Who knows? Again, you can take it at your own pace. There's different options to complete the program at different lengths. And it's sometimes hard to picture like where I might end up, but also something I know you mentioned students might go into their graduate studies or a master's degree that's related to their field. I also have heard of students that take this and use the undergrad aspect of it to then apply to professional schools such as law or medicine or even veterinary, dentistry, optometry. The list goes on for professional schools. But speaking to that is, of course, so the base knowledge is environmental sustainability, but then also having the ability to choose electives based on your passions or where you think you're going to be most successful or where you'll build that base knowledge to what you'll end up wanting to do. So whether it is going into a very specific career field or going into a very specific professional program or continuing that education, again, it's something that you can tailor to your own educational experience. Alrighty, so that brings us towards the end of the session. We don't have any questions in the Q&A right now. Again, I'll remind our viewers, if you're watching this as a recording, you can certainly ask us questions on the recordings on our YouTube channel or our Facebook, and we'll be happy to answer them after the fact. We'll get that notification. Speaking of our social media though, we are on Facebook, so Lakehead University International is our handle. We also have a group started on that page, so it's called the Incoming Class of 2020. So new students that are joining us in 2020 are already on that group. I believe we should be at 350. I admitted another student this morning when I first woke up, and I think that brought us right up to 350. So that group continues to grow and continues to expand. And there's already great conversations where students are meeting future classmates. They're also meeting students that are actually even in their hometown right now. So internationally, they don't even realize that students within their own city have also applied and intend on coming to Lakehead. I've also seen great conversations about roommate opportunities, starting clubs, starting conversations about what they're going to do when they're here at Lakehead. So it's always great to see that conversation happening early, because we understand that as you make your transition to Lakehead, if you have a pre-established friend group or if you have another connection at Lakehead, that transition will be easier because you have another resource or a go-to person that you already know and you can trust. We are also on Instagram. Lakehead International is our handle. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we do an Instagram Live where we meet up with a current student or an alumni. So we're excited to host some more this upcoming week. And then we're also on Twitter, Lakehead INTL. On YouTube, Lakehead University is the main channel. We do have 2 playlists dedicated to international audience members. So there is Lakehead International, which is our general playlist. You can learn more about Lakehead, hear testimonials and interviews from current students and about their experience. And then the Lakehead International Lives webinar playlist. So all of our webinars are recorded and uploaded after the fact. So today's webinar about sustainability sciences will be up in a few short hours after we do a bit of editing. And then you can watch it, of course, but we've covered plenty of sessions. So if you want to explore sort of the department services, faculties, programs that we've chatted with and dove into, please, I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and watch those videos. Again, if you have questions, you can comment on the videos as well. And last but not least, I always like to mention this is, we know a major part of the decision is actually knowing and getting used to where you're going to study. And so exploring the facilities, exploring the campuses, the surrounding environments is a very important part of your decision process. And so at that point, we encourage you to take a virtual campus tour. If you go over to lakeheadu.ca/tours, that website is the link directly to our virtual tour. There's no appointments necessary, so you can complete it at your own pace. You can complete part of it today and you can wrap up tomorrow even, or of course you can do it in one straight shot. But again, it's from the comfort of your own home, done virtually, so there's no waiting around necessary. There's no any delays at that point to explore our campuses. And I think once you see where we're located, both in Thunder Bay and Aurelia, and the nature that surrounds our campus and just the buildings themselves and some of the advanced technologies that we have, and laboratories, I think you'll be pretty confident in your decision with Lakehead. Again, if you have any questions for us, you can reach out to us on our social media channels. comment on the recorded videos, or send us an email. Our general email is welcome@lakeheadu.ca. Otherwise, I'll pass it over to Sree to say her goodbyes. I want to thank you, Sree, for joining us. Today's session was absolutely amazing. I couldn't thank you more, but I'll pass it over to you to say your goodbyes.
Thank you for listening to me and the rest of the Lakehead team. And it's a great place to be.
Awesome.
And great program to graduate.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And thank you again, Patrick, for joining for another webinar. I know, oh gosh, we've done so many now, and we'll still be doing more throughout the summer to stay connected with you with our International Student Services team. They'll also be taking over some of the webinars upcoming to begin the transition. So you'll start to meet with the international team that interacts with you on a daily basis. So our current student affairs team. We're very excited to see some of their webinars that are upcoming in a few weeks here. We're working out what that looks like, what the transition is between our team to theirs, but we're working collaboratively to make sure that we're still staying connected with all of our future students. So once again, thank you again for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you on Monday for our webinar about how to apply to on-campus residence. Otherwise, I'll say bye for now and enjoy your weekend. Thanks again.